Hello vinyl community, this is Randy. I have picked up some records during the first 3 weeks of July, so I'm going to show those to you today. The first one I'm going to show you is actually not a record, it is a CD. This is King Crimson Tour Box 2019. This is The Elements. This is a compilation King Crimson 2 CD set that they have put out for the past, since 2014. So this is actually the third one of these I've gotten. I got them also for 2017 and 2018. I don't know if you can tell, but the colors are a little bit different. Otherwise, they're exactly the same. They come with 2 CDs in this booklet, which fits into the pocket there. This one for 2019 just came out. So these are compilations. So yeah, I'm just going to show you the actually other 3 members of the band there. And it's a compilation of performances, outtakes, backing tracks from throughout their career. So it's they're really pretty cool. They come with a lot of information inside these booklets. It tells the track listing here, but then once you get further back into them, they tell you some history of the band and tells you all the different lineups of the bands of King Crimson over the years. So they're pretty good. It's a mixture of live stuff and studio stuff. I'm not sure if something like this is really directed towards longtime fans who just really want to hear all the outtakes and everything they can, or is it really better for somebody who's new to King Crimson and wants to get introduced to them? I would think, if you're new to King Crimson and want to listen to some without making too much of an investment, these are like 20 or 25 bucks for 2 CD sets. So yeah, they sound really good. Highly recommend it to you if you're interested in King Crimson. I got this Black Keys record. This is the newest Black Keys record. I've seen several people show this in the VC. It's got very good reviews, and I agree with all those reviews. It's a good, mainstream rock album, I guess is what I would call it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, to me, it really picked up starting on side 2. I really liked some of the songs on side 2 better, but the whole thing is really good. I've enjoyed it. It came with this sheet of stickers here. I'm probably going to put that one on my Record Doctor. I don't know about that electric chair. Yeah, recorded here in Nashville at Easy Eye Sound. So I just did a quick look on Google Maps, and yeah, about 5.2 miles from my house. Third Man record is about 5.4 miles from my house. So 8th Avenue. The Raconteurs album was recorded on 7th Avenue. I think probably maybe less than a mile away. So I thought it was kind of interesting that those 2 rock and roll records for this year, 2 really big ones for this year, both recorded here in the home of country music. This is a standard black vinyl custom label. Yeah, it's a good record. I love the Black Keys. I started getting the records with Brothers. So yeah, I think I really need to go back and check out some of their early albums. This is actually their 10th album, I believe. I've picked up some jazz albums this month, and so I'm just going to show these to you in chronological order of the year that they were released. So the first one I got, I sent away for. This is a Music Matters, round about midnight at the Cafe Bohemia. It's a Kenny Dorham record. This is a 45 RPM, and it is mono. This was actually released in 2009, so it's been sitting there at Music Matters for a while. I wonder if it's because of the 45 RPM. You know, I was really hesitant about that, but I finally just decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and get it. And I'm glad I did, because it really is not that much of a hassle to change to 45 RPM. Just have to take the platter off, move the band down, put the platter back on. Once you get used to it, it's really not that big a deal. Then, of course, the other thing is you have to turn the record over twice as often. This record has 6 songs on it, so there's 2 sides with 2 songs, 2 sides with 1 song. So about 7 or 8 minutes each. So, you know, once again, it's one of those things that after you get used to it, it really is not that big a deal. The sound, I really think it sounds excellent. So I wanted to go ahead and get this from Music Matters while it is still available, mostly because it was mono. The mono sounds great. This is a fantastic record. This has Kenny Burrell on guitar, so the 2 Kennys, Kenny Dorham, Kenny Burrell, both sounding great. Has a guy on tenor sax named J.R. Monterose, Monterose. I had never heard that name before, but I've really enjoyed his work on this record. And also Bobby Timmons on piano. So, yeah, fantastic record. Round About Midnight, Night in Tunisia are on here, and Autumn in New York. And then there are some original songs. So, very happy about this. Music Matters. Yeah, like I say, the changing every few minutes is not, you know, like I said, it turned out to be that much of an inconvenience for me. Here's what the label looks like for that one. So, yeah, 45 RPM mono, just really sounds excellent. So yeah, that came out in 1956. This album came out in 1961. I was at Phonolux looking through their records. Phonolux used to be strictly a used record store, but now they do have some new records. I was going through there, and they had this one still sealed. So I decided to pick it up. I got it just like a day after the Kenny Dorham. This one also is 45 RPM. This record has 8 songs on it, so you get 2 songs for each side, so that's kind of nice. It's stereo. What I have done actually is I've played it on the stereo with the stereo cartridge. I've also played it with the mono cartridge because, you know, lifting off those platters and everything and changing the belt around. I mean, it's not that much of a hassle, but I want to do it that much. And so, like I said, I've played this on the mono turntable, and I like it better that way. Some of these early jazz ones from the early 60s, the stereo separation, you know, particularly when there's only 4 instruments, the stereo separation basically just means that the drums row on the right and saxophone on the left. And it's just, to me, sometimes it's too much separation. So, play this with the mono cartridge. I think it's much better. It's much more straightforward. As far as I know, I mean, I'm hearing everything. I mean, there's only 4 instruments there: bass, drums, piano, and saxophone, and I'm hearing all 4 of them. So, I don't know. I don't think I'm doing anything to hurt this record by playing it with a mono needle, but if I am, please let me know, and I'm going to stop doing that. But the sound is great, and I think I'm going to start using the mono cartridge more often for some of these early 60s jazz records that, like I say, the stereo separation just basically amounts to drums on one side and the horn on the other. So, but if I shouldn't be doing that, please let me know, because I don't want to hurt anything. Here's what the label looks like on this record. This record also is, it's the 3rd Coltrane record on Atlantic. Giant Steps and My Favorite Things came first. And this record also is, I read that this is the first time the Coltrane Quartet actually played together as a whole on just one song, Village Blues. He picked up Elvin Jones for drums on that one song, and McCoy Tyner for piano on that one song. The bass player on that one is Steve Davis, So, other than that, he's got Jimmy Cobb on drums and Win Kelly on piano. So, it's a fantastic record. I mean, you know, obviously Coltrane. What am I going to say about that? Also, 1961. I got this one also that same day at Funolux. I couldn't believe I came across this. Sound of the Johnny Smith guitar. It just sounds absolutely perfect. This record also recorded in 1961. This is an original issue, and this is on Royal Roost. It's interesting, on the cover of the album it just says Roost, but on the label itself it says Royal Roost. So beautiful blue label there. This is mono recording. Yeah, this is Johnny Smith with Hank Jones on piano. Let's see. Yeah, George DeVivier on bass and Ed Shaughnessy on drums. So, yeah, Ed Shaughnessy was the drummer for the Tonight Show Orchestra all those years. If you ever used to watch a Johnny Carson show, then you know Ed Shaughnessy had a lot of personality. I could tell you this drumming on here is much more subdued than it was with Johnny Carson. You can hardly even hear it. It's really, really quiet. So, Johnny Smith is great. He does some jazz standards on here, like Misty, Round Midnight, Come Rain or Come Shine. Johnny Smith, guitarist, cool jazz. So it's not as frantic maybe as the hard bop, and yeah, really enjoyable. I am going to do a needle drop towards the end of this. I'm going to play for you Misty from this record, and then after I play that one, I'm going to play another version of Misty by Richard Groove Holmes. This is a record that came out in 1965. Richard Holmes is an organist, so this is just him with a drummer and a guitar player. Gene Edwards is the guitar player. I was not familiar with him. George Randall on drums. But I'm going to play his version of Misty, just to show the contrast. I mean, they're totally different. This is just a real upbeat version of Misty, and Johnny does it in what I think of as the more traditional way to hear that. So this is also a mono record. Yeah, like I say, from 1965, and this one is on Prestige. It's a beautiful blue label there with silver writing. Yeah, really happy to get this. I mean, this sounds absolutely excellent. I got this Lou Donaldson record, Tone Poet series. I think I've seen several people show this one recently. I really like it. This is 1969, I believe. Sorry, 1967 for this one. So Mr. Shingling is the name of the album. He plays with Blue Mitchell on trumpet here, Jimmy Fats Ponder on guitar, Lonnie Smith on organ. So there's no bass player on this. I was listening to it, and the bass sounds really cool. I was trying to figure out, gosh, is somebody playing electric bass on that? But it's Lonnie Smith playing bass with his feet on the organ. So it sounds really good. And I did check, and this is Dr. Lonnie Smith playing organ here. This is not the other Lonnie Liston Smith, I think is the other one. Yeah, so this starts out with the Ode to Billy Joe. He does a really good version of that. And then he also does on here The Shadow of Your Smile, which Richard Holmes did on his record. So I love it when these bands do their versions of these jazz standards, because they all do them differently. And it's kind of good to hear something that you've heard before. Kind of gives you something to hang on to while you're listening. You know what's going on there. So really enjoyed this one so far. Glad to get it. This is on the standard Blue Note label. Yeah, fantastic record. from 1969. I got this Donald Byrd Fancy Free record. This was actually the Vinyl Me Please record for this month. Well, it wasn't the record for this month. I changed whatever the record was for this month to get this one, so I'm glad I did. This is fantastic. This is sort of like a jazz fusion, but a much mellower type of jazz fusion than some of the other stuff, and it's almost like a big band. He's got 8 people playing on this. There's some flute on it, which I really like that. It gives it a, well, really the name of it is Fancy Free, and it just sounds very airy and free. Yeah, it does. Very upbeat sounding, so. Another thing I like about this is it's produced by Duke Pearson. Duke plays electric piano on this, and just sounds awesome. I'm a big Duke Pearson fan. He had a great album called Sweet Honeybee, one of the great jazz songs. So yeah, this also has a trombone on it, and Jimmy Ponder plays on this one too, on guitar. So yeah, I highly recommend it to you. This is yeah, like I say, that's a Music Matters, so it came with this thing, you know, that goes along the side, and then it came with this booklet, which, you know, tells about the recording and everything. So yeah, nice, good sounding record. That is also a blue note. This one is a very dark shade of blue. I haven't really seen that dark color before. Doesn't affect the playing. Sounds perfect. The last record that I have to show you today is Azar Lawrence, Bridge into the New Age. This record, I was actually watching a video from local bandography, Dave, and he recommended, well, actually, I got this record in the mail a couple days ago, and I was trying to remember, did he actually show this record? It turns out he didn't actually show this record. He showed another record by Azar Lawrence, but then in the comments he recommended this one to me, so I got it, so thanks for that recommendation, Dave. This is also Jazz Fusion. This is from 1974. I had never heard of Azar Lawrence. He is he plays tenor and soprano sax. That's a fantastic album cover. He is actually a person that Elvin Jones and McCoy Tyner started working with after John Coltrane died. So I guess he's sort of carrying on in the tradition of Coltrane. It's very spiritual jazz. This record is sort of, some of it's real slow and quiet, and some of it is really pretty out there, some jazz fusion, so it's really good. This also features Woody Shaw on trumpet. I'm a big Woody Shaw fan. Other than that, I really was not familiar with these people, so I've only listened to this a couple of times, but it sounds great so far, and this is one that I feel sure that I'm going to listen to quite a bit for the rest of the year. So that's it for the new records. Please let me know if you have any thoughts on any of those, and yeah, like I say, I'm going to do just a couple of needle drops here now, just to show you the contrast in the way this song, Play Misty for Me, is it Play Misty for Me I'm going to play, is approached by 2 different people, so stay tuned for those, and please let me know if you have any thoughts on any of these records, or also if you have any thoughts on you know, playing the stereo record to a mono cartridge. I'm just interested to know if anybody has any thoughts on that. I can't imagine it would hurt it. I don't know why it would. Well, that's it. Hope everybody has a great day. Stay tuned for a couple of needle drops.